that we don't do a great job of predicting suicide. We know that suicide is linked to a lot of different psychological challenges and disorders. The most robust predictor of suicide attempts are past suicide attempts. And so as mental health professionals, what we're doing often when we're assessing for risk, assessing for suicide, is asking people if they've attempted suicide before, if they've thought about suicide before, if they have the means. Like, all of those questions are related to us wanting to predict if someone is at greater risk for suicide than others, but we don't know a lot. And I think the challenge is that we only know about people sort of who die by suicide when they're dead. People who die by suicide die alone, right? Oftentimes they are thinking about it alone. They are perseverating about ending their life alone. They don't talk to other people. People aren't in community as it relates to suicide because as a society, we're so afraid to talk about it. Probably one of the only places where people talk about suicide is maybe in therapy sometimes, but not really, because people are afraid to talk about it often in therapy. People are afraid to talk about it with family members. People are afraid to talk about it with friends because it's so deeply stigmatized. This sort of isolation of suicidal ideation and the isolation of suicide itself, I think, is what makes it so challenging. The thing I love about WhiteFlag is that we are sort of on the forefront of acknowledging that suicidal ideation is incredibly common, right? Like, if I think about the group of clients that I have, even in my own practice, I bet more than 60 to 70% of those clients have experienced suicidal ideation at one point in their lifetime. I remember talking about this with Johnny, our WhiteFlag CEO, a lot, being like, if we can just normalize the idea that suicidal ideation occurs and we can start to talk about it, people don't have to suffer alone. And when people aren't alone, they're likely not dying by suicide.